Hi, honey. After two very sad lore and theory videos, let's discuss something lighthearted. A potential Arknights anime. And I don't mean stuff behind the scenes with studios and stuff. I want to discuss together with you how the Arknights story would be adapted. You see, Chapter 8 is a very important point for Arknights, and its release is the reason to why lately quite a few people have brought up the topic of an adaptation, because it is the last chapter of the reunion arc. And with that, we are now presented with a closed-off story that would be perfect for a 13-episode seasonal adaptation. So, based on my knowledge and interpretation of this wonderful story, I am going to show you the ultimate Arknights anime layout plan. .zip. Episode 1. The episode starts with a floating shot of Chernobog while someone is giving an epic but cryptic beginning monologue, maybe Priestess or the Doctor. It abruptly cuts off to the wake-up scene. The rest of the episode shows the events of Chapter 0 and Chapter 1, introducing us to all the characters up to the arrival of Tallulah. The episode ends with her engulfing Chernobog in flames and Ace and his crew engaging her, leaving us with an Attack on Titan effect. A first episode which ends in pure chaos. Episode 2. The episode would cut straight to the action, first showing Doctor, Amiya and so on fighting their way through Chernobog, then Ace, Scout and their boys' final stand. The focus there would definitely be on Guard, who of course escaped the fighting. It cuts back to the main crew who arrived in the landship. After that, we would see a short scene of Guard getting a short glimpse of Patriot. Episode 3. I think the first half of the episode would have its focus on the Doctor and how he first experiences Rhodes Island, and on his training arc, together with Jessica and Doberman. The latter half takes place in Lungmen, covering our first encounter with Chen, Kalzit and the discussion with Lungmen's leadership. The episode would end with Skullshatterer's attack on the city. Episodes 4 and 5. Those episodes would straight up cover the story of Chapter 2 and 3, giving us the story of Misha and Skullshatterer. Episode 5 should end with W's worrisome comments on everything, hinting at her upcoming change of sides. Episode 6. This episode would cover the majority of Chapter 4, first giving us Chen and Amiya's interactions in the Lungmen slums, showing the viewer that there's more to that tsundere dragon. After that, we would just really see everything in Chapter 4 up until the point where the Doctor and Frostnova fall into the hole. Episode 7. This would be the Frostnova episode. We see her famous Candy interaction, followed by her backstory, and finally the time Rhodes Island and the Yetis work together to get their leaders out. This episode will be important in showing that the enemies are not necessarily the baddies. It ends just like Chapter 4, with Chen calling Amiya, telling her that Lungmen is in trouble. Episode 8. This would be the Chen episode for the first half, covering her, Swire and Hoshiguma fighting and talking in Lungmen. The latter half would cover the rest of Chapter 5, with Mephisto, Faust and the whole zombie bollocks, Blazes and Graveroad's arrival and so on. The last few minutes would show the Raincoat Guards, those Imperial agents and so on starting the infected purge. The last scene would be Amiya, Doctor and so on witnessing what is going on and having that one phone call with Chief Furry. Episode 9. This one would cover all of Chapter 6, including the guards turning the battle around, the full extent of the infected purge and of course Frostnova's final battle. After that, there should still be enough time for that one interaction with Rosmontis and Doctor, the leader's talk and Chen's escape from early Chapter 7. Episode 10. Personally, I would make this the W episode. Beginning with the talk on the command tower, a speedrun of Dark Knight's memoir, or at least its most relevant parts, definitely showing Pharesia, followed by their fight. After W's defeat we would see Patriot and Tallulah's talk, and a few insights on Reunion's internal struggle. Episode 11. I would have the first half of this episode put an emphasis on Rhodes Island's preparations for the final battle, including interactions with Kalzit and Amiya's speech. All of that would be followed up with everything up until the battle with Patriot. During that part, we would have the focus on Doctor and Kalzit, Rosmontis' powers, and of course, the returning Guard. Episode 12. This one would cover everything left in Chapter 7. A great way to fit in Patriot's backstory would for example be the following. With every step of him advancing towards Amiya, we get one flashback of like 3 sentences, giving us a greater image of his past. The episode would end with W's monologue at the end of Chapter 7. Episode 13. And for the final episode I would put all of that in. Rosmontes and the Shield Guards, Mephisto and Sarcophagus, and so on. The last real scene we would have should be the Doctor's flashbacks of Priestess and Kal'Zit's reaction, leaving us on a massive cliffhanger. During the ending credits, we would have Amir running towards Tallulah, together with some scenes of the ongoing battle, combined with an epic monologue. And as a post-credit scene, I would put in that very short scene of King Pheresis and this ominous body we saw in W's episode before. And you have seen that right. I would not put Tallulah's backstory, Amir's transformation, and the final battle and aftermath into the seasonal adaptation. Chapter 8 is gigantic, and in my opinion, all of this right here would be perfect for a movie adaptation. Is that in the budget? Maybe, if the anime can generate enough hype. Not convinced? Look, as someone who has spent a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time, with the story of Arknights, my personal assessment is that a full adaptation of the reunion arc within 13 episodes is just not realistic. At least not if it wants to give every necessary information without rushing it. But ladies and gentlemen, this is only my humble opinion. So leave a comment with what you think. And I thank you for watching, and hope I will see you next time. Cheers!